this past weekend was fantastic, phenomenal, and beyond wonderful at the
Oh,
same
good. I'm
time.
glad you enjoyed.
Yeah, but at the same time, it stirred the pot beyond. I held it all together for so well for so long. And I feel like the well is broken, and yeah, the emotional purging, crying, sad.
So you just had a bunch of emotions come out. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, it started yesterday, but it's just reflecting my whole life and everything. It's like my marriage is just, there's fears, there's old belief systems, everything. Like the floodgates are open. So how do I, because it comes in waves, and then it's like, oh my gosh, and I can feel it, that I can feel that I can see it, it's coming out, but it's like, oh my God, so how do I assist without depleting?
So give me an idea of what's coming up. You're just feeling sad? Like, you don't have to give me details, but just like you're feeling sad, you're feeling upset, you're feeling angry, like you're feeling hopeless. Like, tell me what you're feeling.
A lot of tears.
Okay. So that's sadness?
Borderline grief, and old
sadness.
memories from childhood, my mother, and it's like a lot of realizations of what I kind of took on as my own growing up. Belief systems, fear of moving forward, anger, there's just everything, to be honest, fear of moving forward, and at the same like frustration of not moving forward. And also the frustration of like not knowing what to do and how to do it. And there's just like, it feels like a flood. That's why it feels like a floodgates, and I'm okay. And then I'm crying.
Yeah. I would deal, instead of trying to deal with it all at once, I would deal with like kind of the sadness and grieving, because it sounds like even some of the other pieces are still tied to like a sort of grieving process. And so I would really try to facilitate like the grieving of, whatever it is that's coming up. And, I think you could stay simple with that. I think going with ginger lily, like, you can apply it to the heart, to the forehead, inhale it quite a bit, thinking of situations, inhale it with your awareness on your brain, because you are going to balance out the two sides of the brain by inhaling with the awareness on the brain. And a lot of times when we're having these kinds of things is we become like a little bit heavier on the left side, and the right side not quite is activated. And so it helps with balancing out the two, and the right side is going to be how you're able to like kind of process and release some of those things, rather than having to try to figure out and how to resolve it. Some of it we just sometimes just have to let things go, like, and the everyday part of the mind wants to figure out what to do and how to do it, where the right side of the brain is just like, let's just give it to Salvation Army and call it good. You know what I mean?
So how do I let go of it?
Sometimes you just fill up that box and donate it somewhere and just let it go.
All right. So
you know what I mean?
Good. How do I let go of it? Because that's what
ginger lily. The ginger lily. The ginger lily.
Because my husband said something last night, and I was feeling it. I was feeling bubbling, I was very sensitive. It's very subtle, and it's very multi-layered. And I could feel it coming up, and I was like, oh gosh, here we go. I kept it so all together for so long, so well. I was like, oh dear. And then my husband said something in the evening, and it's just like triggered. And it's just like, oh, here we go. And then here I am like judging myself. So it's not even, there's just everything. And then I ended up with a headache, massive headache on Monday, Tuesday, even today. I had a headache. I woke up with a headache. I applied the headache actually intensified when I put the white wood on my forehead yesterday morning. And my headache just went.
What part of your head was your headache in?
Temples. And inner sides and inner. I massaged. I put the sacred, not the sacred.
Look at you doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Take something like spikenard, vetiver, marjoram, and rub it on this area, like right where your neck and your shoulder come together.
Mm-hmm.
Rub it more there than up on the head or the temples.
The stress, the tension. Okay.
Well, the thing with things in the temple and like up over, like when it comes up from behind the ear and all that, and sometimes it's just located in the temple, and sometimes it's the whole way around, is it's radiating from that point in the shoulder. And so it's a very common type of headache. And as much as you treat it up here, this is actually the culprit. And like this can still be unwound, but I find that always unwinding this first makes all of this better. You know, makes it easier to treat, it makes it more responsive to treat. But you know, one of the things that you can do, you can use marjoram up on the sides of the head. I also like to use basil sometimes, and just like put on my fingertips and rub it into the temporalis area, like the side of the head. But I would eradicate this first. Yeah.
Perfect. But I feel all of it is all together. You know, it's one. It's just, it's old stuff, like childhood stuff. Like there's just everything just came up flooding. So anything else would you recommend to kind of moving forward with the, you know, uncertainty with all the changes to just help?
Well, like sometimes when somebody feels like a little bit out of control, which it feels like a little bit of like the uncertainty of the future and everything. One of the things I have people do is Ambret. And you can inhale it, but usually I have people take a couple drops internally.
Ambret internally.
Yeah.
And that would just help harmonize. Kind of.
It would help you deal with feeling out of control. You know, it's not that you're walking around feeling out of control, but like when you're talking about all these different things and this and that, and I don't know what to do and all that, that's a little bit of like a reflection of not feeling like you're in control or not having like a clear path. And it's really super good for that. I mean, that's when I use it like that. I mean, it knocks it out. For me, it knocks it out really quick.
And that will kind of get rid of like the questions and
well, it will I mean, it depends on what we're talking about, but like sometimes the questions are things that are unfolding, and it just helps you to deal with the things that are unfolding. And then if it's something where you go, okay, I got to figure out what's going to happen here and now, you know, either yes or no, it helps you just to make a decision and be a little bit more okay with it. Because here's the thing with this, some decisions, sometimes it's clear cut, like this is what needs to happen. And sometimes you make a decision and it's weighing on you. Am I making the right decision, the wrong decision? When you can adjust your decision as time goes by. Like I decided on this, but now as I go through, I find that I need to adjust and, you know, go a little bit more left than right, or, you know, whatever it is. It just allows you to not feel like everything is so like it's either now or never, or, you know what I mean? It just takes the edge off of certain things.
That's perfect. Ambret. So what would you do that? Because I can feel it.
I would take the Ambret internally and I would inhale the ginger lily, place it on the heart and the forehead, and then also inhale with it on your brain.
Okay. Yeah, I love ginger lily. Yeah, that's the thing with what you just said is perfect, and I can see it and I can feel it, and at the same time when it's the flooding coming, I was like, oh my gosh, just pouring, and I'm crying, and I'm just realizing this, like all these thoughts are the old patterns that are coming. That's not me now. I was like, I'm so just observing it, and I'm just observing my body reacting, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So thank you. I mean, fabulous class, because that's the intention. That's what I was working with, and it's just perfect. You know, I went deep. You know me.
Yeah.
You know me. anything I can diffuse in the house to harmonize the energies between me, husband, pets, just assist and diffuse or burn incense or
Hmm.
for
Is there
about
conflict in the house or no?
a
Or
little bit. It's a bit of like this. I seem to be a powerful force in a way, and I don't know how to put it. It is felt when I'm not at
you know
peace.
what I would diffuse? I would diffuse Cape Snowbush.
Fabulous. Okay.
And the reason being that Cape Snowbush, I mean, there's a couple other oils that do this as well. Alemi could do it. Cypress could do it, but Snowbush and Alemi do it a little bit better. But they help with facilitating like a transition.
Mhm.
And even like, I'm not saying like, oh, you and your husband are going to have this happen or that happen, but even if it's
It
like
is happening.
we need to come to a better place. Like things might stay the same, but we got to come to a better place, or we're moving on, or whatever. Like this, whatever it is, it's a transition from where you're at. And I think the more that everybody's on board with that, the better that everything will flow. And those two would be your best bet. Either Alemi or Cape Snowbush. But I'm feeling a little bit more Cape Snowbush for you.
That's what I'm feeling too. And
Yeah,
well said.
yeah.
Thank you for putting it into words, because that's
Yeah.
what's the tension is the
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah, it's it feels like it's a transitional thing. So
Yeah.
even what you were saying, it's like, if you think about like it's just the other side of the coin of what you were saying, where you're feeling a little out of control or this, or you're not sure, or things are unfolding, still part of a transition. Like,
Mhm.
that literally is what transition looks like. And so,
Can I escape Snowbush, inhale salt baths, or
sure, Cape Snowbush is an awesome salt bath.
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I love me some Cape Snowbush.
Wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Greg. I can't wait for you to come to
Yeah,
Sarasota.
a couple more weeks.
I
Yeah.
look forward to giving you and Sam a big